The movie starts with Hannah, an aspiring fashion designer, working as a junior fashion designer in a store with her best friend Esther, sharing a matching tattoo. The two girls share a close bond, and it turns out Esther introduced Hannah to Kaylin, and both decided to get into a relationship. Hannah is a hardworking person, but her boss never appreciates her work. He always finds ways to discourage her and criticizes her work for not being original. He also threatens to fire her if she doesn't show improvement soon, deeply affecting her. Next, we see Hannah having dinner with her parents. She believes her parents don't care about her and are busy living their lives. This makes her feel further upset, lonely, and insecure. All of a sudden, she feels a strong pain near her stomach, over her birthmark. She feels a strange bulge forming in that area, but the very moment it disappears. The next day at work, Hannah's boss announces that in his next event, he'll pick on one of the junior fashion designers. This was indeed a big opportunity for Hannah, and she wanted to grab the chance. At home, she is trying to think of new designs to impress her boss. She then feels the same pain near her stomach, over her birthmark, and a similar bulge starts forming again. This time, she pulls up her top to check the area. She is shocked to see a gruesome creature trying to come out of her from that area. The creature that looked like a person's head then starts talking. This frightens Hannah more. The creature starts calling her useless and criticizes her for being too scared to get her hand pierced by needles, even though she wants to become a successful fashion designer. The creature then completely separates from her body, and Hannah faints after witnessing such a scene. When she gains consciousness again, she tries to look for the creature in her room. The creature jumps on her shoulder from behind, and she grabs it, hitting it against the wall. The creature falls to the ground, and Hannah locks it up in the closet. She then checks her wounds in the mirror and applies bandages to them. But blood keeps leaking, covering the area over her top. The bloodstains strike her with an idea for a dress. She quickly gets to work and stitches up a unique dress. Meanwhile, the creature asks her to let it out of the closet, but Hannah decides to ignore its pleas. The next day, Hannah meets her boss and shows him the dress she worked on the whole night. The white dress is decorated with red ornaments in such a way that they resemble bloodstains. Her boss is impressed by the design and asks her to make more of such dresses. Later, Esther notices blood on Hannah's clothes. Out of concern, she asks Hannah if she's all right. To this, Hannah simply lies, calling it a skin allergy, and says she's about to see the doctor after work. At the doctor's clinic, after checking her wound and the birthmark, the doctor tells Hannah that she has dual DNA chimera, a rare medical condition where one twin absorbs the cells of the other in an embryo state inside the womb. Hannah asks the doctor if it's possible for the tween to grow out of her body again somehow. The doctor laughs at her question and lets her go, prescribing some medicine. Later, she meets Esther for a drink. Esther suggests to Hannah that they should quit their job and start their own business, thinking it's a better idea. Hannah disagrees and excuses herself, lying about feeling unwell. We see that the creature has somehow escaped from the closet, where it was locked up, and is now hiding under the bed. When Hannah finds the closet open, she searches for the creature in fear. The creature had grown in size and is almost the size of a small kid now. The creature proceeds to play with Hannah's mind with its hypnotic eyes, planting the seed of doubt by calling her a bad girlfriend and emphasizing that Kaylin is closer to Esther than her, advising her to keep an eye on them. A phone call from her mother breaks the hypnosis, and Hannah hits the creature in the head with one of her heels, making it unconscious. She lifts the unconscious body and takes it to her basement, where she ties it to a pipe. She then receives her mother's phone call. Her mother informs her about their upcoming apartment shift and invites her to a little party. When Hannah asks her mother if she has a twin in her womb, her mother replies that there is no such thing, leaving Hannah more intrigued about the strange creature. Later, she finds Kaylin and Esther at her door, inviting her on a picnic. She declines, lying about feeling unwell. Before closing the door, the creature's words about Kaylin and Esther strike her, as she sees Kaylin putting his hand over Esther playfully. Hannah surfs the internet to find out more about her condition and stumbles upon a website providing information about a support group. She notes down the address and heads there. Upon entering, she meets others facing similar issues and learns about the appendage, a parasite feeding on insecurities. She is given injections filled with a serum to control it. Fred, a group member, provides instructions and warns her of potential side effects. After the support group session, Hannah meets Claudia, another member, who invites her for coffee. They chat over coffee and seem to get along well. When Hannah returns home, she heads to her basement to inject the serum into the creature. As warned by Fred, she starts experiencing side effects, feeling dizzy, Kaylin visits her, finds her in a lost state, and asks if everything is okay. She decides to reveal everything about the creature, showing him her wound. Kaylin struggles to believe her, making her upset. She asks him to leave and pushes him outside. The next day at work, she behaves rudely with Esther when approached with concern. Later, Hannah and Claudia have a drink together. Hannah shares a car accident incident from her youth, contributing to the distance between her and her parents. Stressing over it, she hasn't been able to cope. Claudia advises her to listen to the creature, explaining its role as a helpful advisor. She shares her own experience of discovering her ex-husband's affair through her appendage, leading to a divorce and a fulfilling single life. Claudia suggests Hannah do the same, but warns against letting the appendage hypnotize her. Returning home, Hannah lets the appendage talk to her in the basement. It plays with her mind, claiming Kaylin and Esther are having an affair, and no one loves her. Unable to bear it, she decides to inject the serum, only to find the injection empty. The appendage hypnotizes her, making her unconscious. When she wakes up, the appendage is gone. She searches her house but can't find it. She calls Claudia, who assures her everything will be fine and is on her way. Hannah asks her to come later as she needs to attend her parents' party. When Hannah reaches her parents' apartment, feeling unwell, she throws up a black substance on the food prepared by her mother, shocking her. Trying to explain her situation, her mother denies hearing her out, stating that she's hard to handle. Upset, Hannah leaves right away. Back home, she lies down on her bed, feeling sad. The creature, now the size of a person, creeps onto the bed from behind. The appendage uses its long tongue to attach to Hannah's body, draining her life. Despite her resistance, the appendage, now stronger, easily overpowers her. Before losing consciousness, she sees Claudia smiling at her. The appendage has transformed into Hannah, now the same size. Claudia hands over lenses to hide its white eyes. It's revealed that Claudia's appendage was pretending to be her, manipulating Hannah into letting her appendage escape, achieving the goal of feeding on their host and transforming into them. The support group was filled with appendages taking over their hosts' lives. Hannah's appendage, pretending to be her, shows up at work, presenting her boss with more dresses. Impressed by the dress and the change in attitude, her boss praises her. Esther notices the behavior change, and not finding the matching tattoo on Hannah's wrist, realizes the person in front of her is not her best friend. Esther goes to check Hannah's house and hears strange noises coming from the basement. Peeping through the vent, she finds the real Hannah tied up in a bad condition. Esther releases her and takes her to the hospital, where she starts to regain health and apologizes for being rude before. Meanwhile, Hannah's appendage is at Kaylin's house. He notices the difference in her behavior and becomes suspicious. About to get into bed together, Kaylin feels like going to the bathroom for a shower. Hannah's appendage finds one of her teeth has come off and calls Claudia's appendage for an explanation. Claudia's appendage suggests feeding on another body as the real Hannah's body regains health. In the hospital, Esther tries to contact Kaylin but can't reach him. Remembering Claudia's appendage's advice, Hannah assumes her appendage has gone after Kaylin. Both rush to his house. Hannah's appendage starts feeding on Kaylin, and Esther and Hannah rush to his house. Claudia's appendage attacks Hannah to prevent her from saving Kaylin, but Esther intervenes, allowing Hannah to cut off the creature's tongue. Kaylin is saved, and Hannah's appendage shrinks back to its original size. Hannah decides not to let it control her life, suggesting they get along as they have to live together. She kisses the creature, and it shrinks to its original small size. Hannah and Esther salve the real Claudia, who was locked up by her appendage. They quit their jobs and start their own business at home. When Hannah pierces her finger while sewing, she's reminded of the appendage's words and her insecurities. However, she quickly dismisses the negative thoughts from her mind. The movie concludes with Hannah going to the attic, where she has kept her appendage wrapped in a cloth in a cradle bed like a baby. She realizes that the appendage is a manifestation of her insecurities, but it cannot harm her if she doesn't care much about it. This resolution marks a newfound understanding and acceptance of herself, and the movie also ends here. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe the Explanation Pro for more interesting contents like this.